righty. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Douglas. I'm Senior Warden of Virginia Research Lodge. This is our first live unstated meeting where I have people in the room with me. Y'all want to wave to the camera. And then what I'll probably do then is I'll mute when I'm not speaking. You can turn the mic back on. We are doing a panel discussion. I call this a very special Scottish Rite meeting or episode, because we're here at the Scottish Rite Conference in Richmond, and we're taking time out to have an unstated meeting for the Research Lodge. So that's really cool. Since everybody's here, I'm not going to send my usual links around, but you can ask me afterwards if you don't have links to our Facebook page or what have you. I think most of you are already in our group. But I want to welcome everybody who's here today. And I'm going to ask you to just go around the room real quick and introduce yourselves.
Sorry. Wes Latchford from the 35th Masonic District in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and also the Director of Education for the Norfolk Valley of the Scottish Rite, and also the DEO for the 56th District.
Hi, Terry Smith. I'm the Veteran Master of the Alexander Scottish Rite here at the conference. I'm also the King of the Frontier number 25 chapter, and I'm at Henry, Senior Warden. Henry number 57. So looking forward to today's discussion.
Bill Pleasance, 25th Masonic District, also the Valley of Lynchburg for Scottish Rite.
Tim Thorman, Master of Buena Vista Lodge number 186 in Buena Vista, Virginia, and the Junior Warden of the Valley of Lynchburg, and District Deputy High Priest for the 14th Capitular District of the York Rite.
Hi, John Suit, Freedom Lodge 112, Eldersburg, Maryland, also member of Alexandria Scottish Rite, past Commander of Kadosh.
Mike Taldo, past Venerable Master, Alexandria Scottish Rite, past Master of Freedom Lodge number 112 in Eldersburg, Maryland. Nice.
All right. And as you can see, everyone here is much more qualified to be here than I am, but you're stuck with me as your host. Okay, so how about I'll pose a question, and then I don't expect everybody to answer every question. We just sort of raise your hand and then go, and then we'll see whoever wants to respond. I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions, and we may hit them all up. We may not, depending on how long the discussion goes.
Should we require a mandatory delay before a candidate may submit a petition to ensure he is a suitable candidate for membership?
So I had the privilege of traveling to Colorado a few years ago. And when I did the fellows program in 2018, I met a couple of guys from Colorado. And, we stayed friends. And then I said, hey, I'm coming to visit family while I'm out there. Hey, come to Lodge with us. So went to Blue Lodge, and they have a standing order, I guess you could say. They have to come, a new candidate has to come to 6 consecutive meetings a month to the dinner. Now, obviously, they can't go in the meeting, and I asked about that, but they have to come 6 consecutive meetings, or for the dinners, and it shows their commitment to going into the craft. And they said they have found that when since they've started doing this, and this was in Denver, and I forget the lodge, but since they've been doing this, they said they have new members coming in who stay involved. And they've shown their commitment right from the beginning to be able to do that. And that is something we've actually talked about in our lodge. A lot of times we get new guys come in, they don't get to find out where the Holy Grail is and the Ark of the Covenant right out of the gate. And they're like, well, so sometimes, we don't see them again. And that's unfortunate. But it does happen. And we've actually thought about doing that as well, because again, shows commitment on their part to being part of something.
Yeah, but it was funny because I held up the Grand Lodge of Virginia's presentation volume because the question was a mandatory delay, right? But if we're doing this right, and we can go all the way back to the observant lodge discussion and the ancient and modern discussions of what masonry is, but if we're doing this right, that's not even a question, right? Because we will know this person, and we will have taken the time not only for them to get to know us, but for us to get to know them. And that takes time. And so often, again, we find ourselves, in this, oh, he, can fog a mirror and is an oxygen-consuming carbon-based life form. Hey, here's a petition already signed, right? He's come and he's visited once, and when the vouchers are standing up in the lodge, they're really not telling you anything other than, yeah, he seems like a pretty good guy, and he'll make a good, make a good member to the lodge. It's like, you're not telling me anything when you do that. And so, mandatory, if we were doing it the way we've been all are asked to do it, that really shouldn't even be a question, in my opinion, because again, it's just the way we do things here. And to the same kind of point though, the gun club that I belong to, you don't get to be a member unless you've been there, 6 months and coming and participating, and you have to have 3 members vouch for you, and you actually get a punch card, because you have to participate and not just show up for, but actually participate and volunteer in 5 of the activities that our club does over the course of the year. So again, and the whole reason for that is because when you become a member, you get a key and access to the range, and guns can be dangerous in the hands of stupid people, and so we're trying to keep stupid people out of the club. I would submit that's part of guarding the West Gate too, is to keep get the right people in and keep the ones that just happen to show up off the street, and a month later you're doing the first reading on the petition. That's not how we're supposed to be doing business. But
and on the flip side, you want to make sure they understand what they're getting into, and they're a good fit with where they are.
Yeah, which I'll take and go to. Well, it's the next question of a follow-on question.
Is the question being asked that, or is the implication? Because I haven't read the book either. Sounds like I don't want to read the book. But is the question being asked because there's a perception that somehow the brother that's come in doesn't have enough education, and that this is going to take him away from the Blue Lodge because of some perceived idea that the Blue Lodge is going to distract him to the point where he's not going to participate, and ultimately is just going to leave? Is that what he's?
The question is, I guess we should know the candidate more thoroughly, and
Prior to becoming a Blue Lodge Mason.
It is just for Blue Lodge.
Yeah, so I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I mean, I was given a Scottish Rite petition almost the instant that I was.
No. This is not for Scottish Rite. This is just.
Oh, joining Blue Lodge.
Yeah. Straight up.
Completely misunderstood the question. You can erase all of that stuff I just said.
Should there be a mandatory delay before a candidate can submit a petition ensures a suitable candidate?
No, isn't that the part of the investigation committee to go out and talk to this man and find that out? I mean, we had a man who I read his petition 2 weeks ago. I've never met the man, but he's lived in our town for 50 years, and four members of our lodge have known him and have grown up with him, and one of them is his cousin. So these people have signed the petition, signed his petition, and they read it, and they all said, well, he's a wonderful man, and we'd love to have him. I called him on the phone. I said, why are you joining? He said, well, I was a member of the Lions Club, but it's dead, so I'd like to do something else in the community. And he's my age, he's 70 years old. I said, okay, great.
That's only one part of why we're asking. One is he a good character? Obviously that person is, you don't have to dig deep. But another thing is, will he be an active participant, and does he gel well with the members of your lodge?
Well,
I'm asking
if he knows 4 of them,
hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters, because in my opinion, you find out that they usually don't make it through the degree work in Maryland because of all the memorization that they have to do. And so I find that we weed them out that way. And through that entire time that we're teaching them what they need to learn, we're making sure that they're participating and they're getting involved, and we're constantly in contact with them. And I think if lodges do that, this is a non-answer.
Weeding them out after they submit the petition and they're going through the.
We still do the investigation.
There certainly is a background investigation, an investigation committee typically you're going to meet them at a dinner or one of our many social functions, whether it's by the fire pit or whatever. You're going to be a known entity, and they're vouched for. They're sponsored into the lodge. But Mike makes a really good point. I'm sure this is true in some jurisdictions, probably not all. In Maryland, it is required to stand proficient in all degrees, even before joining an independent body. You can't join the Scottish Rite until you've stood proficient in the 3rd degree. So it's a big commitment.
Year and a half.
All the way through. So some will drop out as an apprentice because of because of that. But in terms of, the quality of their character, I think Maryland's pretty good. And I'm sure Virginia is also in general, on bringing in quality candidates and making sure that, there aren't people who are coming in because they have some crazy internet conspiracy theory about masonry, or they saw something in a movie or whatever. Those people exist, obviously, but you can discern pretty quickly. Either that, or they're going to be very disappointed that they're not what they thought you were, or something. So they'll go out on their own. But in general, and the background investigation does a lot of that.
On the flip side, I know a brother who's a Scottish Rite Mason who still believes all the crazy conspiracy thoughts, even though he's already a member.
Oh wow!
Should a lodge determine a blue lodge? Should a lodge determine what a candidate is seeking from your lodge, and if he's not a good match, should we make every effort to find a different lodge for him that is a better fit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do that on the times I've been on the investigative committee. We absolutely do that.
I've actually redirected folks to different lodges because of, they would not necessarily make a good fit with the brethren in the lodge. Bringing someone in that will cause accidental discord is a bad thing to do. You do not want to do that, because that is the fastest way to fracture a lodge, the fastest way to keep people from coming, because they don't want to participate in a lodge that has that kind of disagreement. Now, I know we're all brothers and we're supposed to, be respectful, etc., but we're all human too. We make mistakes. And even if you whisper good counsel in their ear, sometimes it's not heard. So absolutely, you do want to redirect brothers to places that they will fit in.
I would say it's not just a person. You bring up the idea of like a personality conflict of sorts. I'm thinking more in the sense of, I really want to do esoteric stuff. I really want Masonic education. And I come to your lodge and you're like, oh, hey, we do ritual. We do charity. We do, this, that, and other. We have our spaghetti dinner every month. They may be doing things that appeal to the members of the lodge, but this guy really wants to join and get Masonic education. And your lodge doesn't simply, that's not what they do. But the lodge down the street really is focused on that. That's what I think is meeting his need, not necessarily.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Right,
and that's a transparency thing too. You got to be kind of honest with yourself.
Right.
What's the personality of your lodge? And then in this process of getting to know this potential brother, that you discern those things. Where like, what, our lodge, as just a general example, you sit and say, okay, well, I know the personality of my lodge is all about community service, right? They do the backpacks for the kids, and they work the concession stands at the Little League, and and very, very big on community involvement. And what we're learning and understanding from this potential petitioner, and we may not be the best fit, for what he's looking to get out of Masonry, or what his Masonic journey may end up being.
Well, I would suggest that you improve your Blue Lodge, because I think if you only focus on certain aspects, then you necessarily exclude certain factions, and you necessarily put people away from your lodge. That you don't have to do all esoteric all the time, because as our lodge learned, that turns people away too. And so striking a balance, I think, is really what we should be striving for as leaders of lodges.
And in a well-run lodge, you have Bill is really into community service, and he's going to push back for the
absolutely
fine. The esoteric stuff, he's going to steer that. And you find someone in your lodge. It's like, here's a question. Like this guy petitioned, Wes wants to join us. He wants esoteric stuff. We really don't do that. Let's find someone in the lodge who's going to make that more of a reality to give him what he needs because the other members are gonna benefit from it.
So
So we should be well rounded.
absolutely. So we raised a brother a couple of years ago. And when I sat down with him before he became one, I said, so what do you do? And he says, well, I do event planning. Man, right away, I'm thinking, I have got a job for you. Didn't say that right away.
I do a what? What did you?
Event
Event
planning.
planning.
And so when he when he was finally raised Master Mason, I said, I need somebody to help us raise revenue. As an event planner, your job now as the director of events is to find ways to raise revenue. And he set about doing that right away. So
We just initiated an executive chef.
Who's-
Oh, our dinners are so much better now.
that's awesome.
I want to say, if you're watching this online, please like and subscribe. This has been a unique experience. I will try and do this again in the future. I thought it was a lot of fun. It is an adjustment for me as the host to be trying to pay attention to y'all sitting here with me. And fortunately, we only had Brian for a few minutes. We didn't have a whole bunch of other attendees. I want to do this more often. I'm going to give every one of you a chance to any final words before we close out. Start with Wes.
No, me first. Think about your Freemasonry. Don't just attend lodge. Increase your expectations of what you want to get from the craft, because that in turn will help hopefully increase the expectations of the lodge and what they are to provide to you in return.
Again, lead by example. Let people see what you like in Freemasonry. Don't tell them. Let them see, and that creates the question.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I would say Freemasonry isn't for everyone, but if you feel compelled, knock on the lodge door and find out when they're going to meet, and give the lodge secretary a call and see if you can just come out to dinner or with the members or something.
I just want to stick on a theme that I think is critical. You need to be visible, and you need to advertise the craft. Wear the hats, wear the shirts, wear the rings, make it known.
Our next unstated meeting will be October 19th. We have Masonic Family Day next week up here in Richmond, and then Civil War after that. So October 19th will be Chad Kopensky, who has been a frequent speaker here, and he will be giving a talk. And I'm looking forward to that. So I thank all of my panelists for being here today. This was great. I think we talked about a lot of good stuff. I'm looking forward to putting this out on the web, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people get this out there and people watching, encourage discussion. But
Great.
thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.